This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
And welcome back to episode 4 of the Craig L. Hayes Show with John Hayes, my father, talking a little bit about show business. And we're going to wrap up today's interviews by talking about some more things and stories. And, it's amazing. You start talking about show business, you bring up some performer, and all of a sudden you have a memory. You go, oh, I remember working with that guy, and we did this and that. And that's what this is about. It's about preserving the stories and what happened in Las Vegas in the early days. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish here with this podcast, is to get it out there so people can hear a little bit about Las Vegas. They see the shows, they see what's going on in Vegas, but they don't realize what it takes or what it took to get Vegas to where it is today. It's a whole different animal today than it was back 60 years ago, when a lot of the stuff was, or 70 years ago when it was at its height, and on stuff going on in entertainment starting there. So we've moved on to a couple places. Let's see, we've gone Riviera, we've gone Caesar's Palace, Sahara. You've worked at the Hilton. You worked with Elvis. You worked with Liberace. Liberace, probably one of the best shows in Las Vegas.
It really was.
He was called Mr. Showman, showmanship, and deservedly so.
That's what he was. That's who he was, Mr. Showbiz. He kept it alive. He did entertainment, and he told other people they had to be entertainers. It was a treat.
And you actually got to be in the show one night.
Oh yeah.
You were the chauffeur.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, his show was composed of about 10 cars, old-time cars. And part of my job was to move each car in the circle backstage and when the curtains opened, each time it was the next car. You kept moving the cars around, and what's his name?
Liberace or
Liberace. I just keep forgetting. It was Liberace. That's who these cars belonged to. And he had an aide helping him do his show.
Yeah, his chauffeur, which was Scott Thornton.
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. I worked with him every night, making that. It was up to me to make that show work. Now, Fred, I can't remember his name, the guy who was the boss of the casino, not the casino, the lighting and sound. What was the hotel?
It was at the Hilton. Yeah, okay. Not important to the story, really. Just...
But we moved the cars every time he came off the stage. And he came off 10 or 11 times. And when he went on next time, it had to be the next car. And that's what we do. We had to move every one of those cars, each a move, one move. And at this particular time, his dresser didn't show up when it was for the finale, which is the biggest time of the show. And we were all ready. Your lighting, your sound, your stage hands with the substitutes and so everything was ready.
But his chauffeur wasn't there.
But the chauffeur didn't show up.
Yep.
And I looked at Mr. Liberace, who had gone off to a corner and changed robes and come back. I got the car door open. He got into the car and says, "Do you know how to run this thing?" I said, "Hang on." And we went out onto the stage in the car to his position he's supposed to be so the spotlights could hit him, and the spotlights hit me. They accidentally hit him too, but everybody was laughing that John was the driver for Sinatra.
Liberace.
Liberace.
Yep.
See, I forget. It's a good thing this is recordable, re-recordable.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we don't edit.
Yeah, right. So the curtain was open, drive out, still hanging on, the car's still running. Liberace gets out. The curtain closes. I drive back around. Everybody's happy.
The show went on.
Well, I did my part.
Yeah.
That's what the heck.
Well, that's what you do. Yeah, we've done things like that and done little chauffeur things for people on stage and golf carts, all kinds of stuff. For
Sure.
you get thrown into the show sometimes. Sometimes you're mainly backstage, out of sight, out of mind. But sometimes you're right in the middle of everything out on stage.
And you better be good.
And do your job and do it just like you're supposed to, and because that's your one. That may be the only one performance you'll ever do.
Yeah. That's,
Filling in and making something happen like that. Running out on stage and changing out a mic real quick if something happened, or
yeah.
you never know what's going to happen.
I did that for you one time. At downtown casino.
Oh, at the Mint.
Was that to the Mint? Yeah. I'd worked the Mint years before. And this one day you asked me to come downtown because you had to leave. I don't know what was going on. But I had to
Yeah.
run the shows, give them what they were used to having. I didn't know how to work the show. I didn't know who was who. I did the best I could at the time.
But the show went on still, and the only people that don't know it is the audience.
Right.
The performer knows something was different, but the audience doesn't really know all that much difference.
Everybody crossed their fingers.
Something I can't remember. I do remember the incident. I don't remember what happened. Something happened with one of the kids or something. I had to take off, or yeah.
Yeah, it was in your home across the street
Yeah, so it was
from
down
where
there.
I lived.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, I had to take off real quick. Those things happen, though. You got to fill in. You just jump into it and just do what you can.
You got to make it work somehow.
I've been places where it's like, I've seen performers I've known before and walk through and I'm watching them perform and they see me and they call me over and say, "Can you fix this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't work here. We don't care. Can you fix it?
Yeah, right.
Well, I can, but people are going to get upset. So let's get them upset. Let's do it because your show is important, not them being upset. Who cares?
That's right.
So
The show must go on.
the things have changed. Like I was talking a little earlier. Vegas had a different vibe. It had a different feel. It had a different. I think it had a different vision of what it wanted to be. It's reinvented itself several times because times have changed. And if you can't reinvent yourself a little bit, you're going to be a dinosaur and you're going to be buried in the ground.
That's right.
But the incarnation that we see today is, it's nothing like what we used to have back in the well, I go back to the early 80s. You go back into the, late 50s of doing shows. But things change.
Yep.
And you have to be able to roll with it and change. I love the smaller rooms. I love that there's still probably 4 that I can think of, plus downtown, but they don't do a lot of shows downtown in the hotels anymore. 4 or 5 showrooms in Las Vegas that are the smaller ones, less than 2,000 seats, basically.
Ain't that something?
Everything else is 4,000.
Oh,
It's just ridiculous. But I understand. These performers now want anywhere from $500,000 to several million for each show.
and sometimes the owner wants part of that.
Well, you never know the deals.
Yeah. And you probably should erase that.
Yeah. No, but that's how Vegas works. You know, the old Vegas was everybody got a taste along the way.
That's right.
And along the way, everybody made money, everybody smiled, everybody was happy.
And helped.
Yeah. And you know, those guys, you know, you look back in those days when, so we'll just look at the one I know about, the Las Vegas Hilton, back when it was Elvis and Liberace and shows like that. You know, we're talking back in the 70s when we'll call minimum wage was somewhere around $2 an hour. Stagehands were making probably $4 an hour, $5 an hour. I don't know, somewhere in that range. You know, and that was pretty good money. $5-6 an hour was pretty good money.
But they were worth it.
Okay, the maitre d's were making $1,000 a night,
That's right.
seating people in the showrooms. And then they would go out and spend that money out, you know, going to clubs and going out to other casinos and going places and stuff. It fed itself in so many ways, you know.
That's where all the broken wrists came from.
Explain that one.
Well, you got a toke.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. My favorite one was, you know, you'd go to give the guy, you'd put some money in his hand, and he'd look down and go, I see you didn't want to sit in the showroom, huh?
Yeah, right.
You better
That's good. That's
kick
good.
that one up a little bit if you're going to sit
That's
inside the showroom.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that going on. I just can't imagine it, you know, $1,000 or more a night when stagehands were making somewhere around, you know, $60, $70 a night. And they were like one of the highest paid trades in town.
Well, thanks to Lee Hayes, they did well in the overall standing of workers.
Yeah.
Because that was the name of the game.
Yep.
And the owners of those other businesses kept them down, those people down. The stagehands got what they were warranted because of the job they were doing that had to be perfect.
Yep. And then the balance of that whole situation is this. There are no more maitre d's or anybody that seats you. It's all done through ticketing and ticket masters, et cetera, box offices. So those guys are all unemployed, and you know those guys are all gone, and we're still making a good living because we have a trade. Some of us are really good at building scenery, rigging, flyman,
Yep.
electrical, lighting, special effects, sound, spotlight operators, projectionists, video wall technicians, all these different trades that are within our local that we have so many guys that are really good and specialized in.
And so many people that can get the job done.
And that's what it is, just getting the job done.
You or me or Gilbert or Gordon. Keith ran the Desert Inn Spotlight. When he came home in the spring from college, he went to work at the Desert Inn running a spotlight, and he did that clear time to go back to school again.
Yep. And went on to become one of the most famous lawyers and judges in Las Vegas.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. It's amazing the history that's within our family alone. And that's why I wrote that book, you know, It's Showtime, you know, what goes on behind there. And then I talked about, you know, you and the uncles and grandpa and grandma and everybody. The history is amazing in our family just in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's what we did. We made it happen.
Yep.
And when you came through the door to the showroom, you better be ready to make it happen. And that's when the entertainer and the musicians and the stagehands, we all said, let's get it done. It's been good.
Big show changes.
Yeah. Whoa.
What did you like doing the most? We got about another 7 or 8 minutes on this episode. What did you like doing the most as a stagehand?
Rigging, as you know, people don't understand that, but the shows have to be rigged. And that's if things good or bad be given the due, you know.
The
so
rigging
much-
is the rigging, so people understand, is things that move on stage, whether it be sets, scenery, lighting systems, whatever it may
Musicians.
be. They have to be rigged so that they move without anyone getting in peril.
Yep.
And they have to move smoothly, and they have to move properly. You know, there's all these things that are necessary. That a good rigger, you're depending on them because you're holding a lot of weight over everybody's head,
Yeah.
and they better know what they're doing, or someone's going to get hurt or killed.
Well, and that's why of all the businesses, and I did a lot of spotlight, and the board and all the sound of it, but I liked doing the rigging, because I knew I had to be doing it right
Yeah.
in order for it to be accepted. And I did a lot of places. I could name you the names of places that I did the rigging. And that's how it stayed. And that's a compliment to doing it. Nobody had to come in and change it.
Yep.
So it was a responsible part to have to do, and you better know what you're doing. But we did the best of the show. You know, I'm trying to think of where they have the swing, people that swing. What's the name of that club?
Is it
That
the
club
Circus Circus?
Circus, and I did the rigging. And then I was called in to do the rigging correction at the Hilton. I got called in that night. And I forgot about that.
And opening night.
Yeah. You did it right, or you got the heck out.
Yeah, your career didn't last a long time if you messed up and you had things happen or go wrong, and especially if somebody got hurt, then your career basically was over in that town
That's right.
because nobody would want you on their stage and nobody wanted you around.
And they didn't make anything about it. I mean, they wouldn't have anything to do with you.
Nope. No, it's very similar today. I mean, you cannot have people that are dangerous working around these performers.
Yep.
It's very simple.
Yeah. That. What's the name of your place?
It's the Westgate now. It used to be the
Westgate.
Las Vegas Hilton way back when. Yeah.
That used to be a good one to know what you were doing. You know, because you did a lot of rigging.
Yep. And it was a compound system too. So, and those are even trickier.
Yep.
You know, those are far more dangerous than a one-to-one system. When they're compound, compound systems can get away with you really quick and cause all kinds of problems.
Scary.
Yep. Yep. You got to know what you're doing. And I was there for 30 years doing all of that and more. So,
You started at the downtown. What was the name of the place?
at the Mint.
Mint. Yeah.
But my first place was building Jubilee at the MGM Scenery Shop.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
44 years ago. Unbelievable. Well, it looks like the clock is just about to hit the end of this episode, and you know what? We're not going to say this was the final episode. We'll just say this is the last episode today, because what we may do is come and do some more of these when we start remembering some more of your stories,
And make some corrections.
and yeah, if we remember stuff that needs to be, but
Add a name
yeah,
and an ability.
and events and stuff like that, because you know you can't remember every story, you can't remember every show. I can't remember all the people, until somebody says, "Oh, you worked with them," and I go, "Oh, I guess I did."
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to remember all these people.
And we're not, myself, I'm sitting here with you, and I'm not saying anything about this guy I worked with. Yeah,
Okay, well, that could be another story for another day.
yes, and well, they're all true.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it is they're true, and a lot of these people aren't even around anymore.
That's right.
So-
This particular fellow isn't around.
So, anyways, that's the end of this episode. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show. I am Craig L. Hayes. I want to thank my father, John Hayes, for being on today's episode. And we're going to try to do some more when we come up with some more names and stories. Until then, we'll see you on the next one.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Yippee!